Thank you very much.
Before introducing the next speaker, let us again have one joke. Let us be fresh, enjoy the joke, and go for the next session. One girl went to the electronic shop and purchased a laptop, and she asked the salesman, can I transfer all my old files from my old laptop to this laptop? He said, yes, it is possible. He took the laptop, she went home, brought her back next day, shouted at the salesman. He threw the laptop on his table and said, what is the bloody laptop you have given me? It is not working properly. I'm not able to copy it. Very important file I'm having in my old laptop, and I'm not able to move to the new laptop. Salesman said, madam, it is possible. Have you brought both the laptops? Yes, I have got it here. Come on, open it. She opened both the laptops. She opened slowly, and she connected her mouse, external mouse. She always uses external mouse. She connected to the old laptop, selected the file, right-clicked it, cut, then removed the mouse carefully, taken to the next laptop, connected it, right-clicked it, and paste. Where is the paste option? This is what we are meeting with the clients daily, my friends. Now I call on Connect to address the next speaker.
Yeah, thank you, Ramesh, for all this. And to do that, we have none other than Mr. Ashish Somaya with us. This gentleman needs no introduction. He believes in something which is very, very long term. Just like the long term equities, he believes in having long term relationship and investing into a brand for long term. He gives example of companies like Nestle and the product like Maggi. That's what they have been doing, and I think his focus is that, and he will be sharing more about all this in his talk. Welcome, Ashish.
Are you ready? So are you going to operate the slides? Good evening, everyone. Warm welcome to all of you. And I'd like to thank the organizers at Next Advisors for giving us this opportunity to come here and to participate. And I should also thank them for inviting Mark to speak before me, because he's pretty much done a lot of my job. He's made my job quite easy, actually. And at the same time, of course, it was quite enlightening. Okay, am I audible at the back? Okay. No, so actually, once I start speaking, after 5 minutes, you won't need the mic. So those of you who worked with me, they know that I'll automatically start getting louder. So basically, what we are going to cover today, I'll run you through some slides on the presentation. It's basically a kind of service or a kind of solution that we've jointly worked out with the team at Next Advisors. And I hope that you find it interesting, and I hope that you find it useful as well. You can't hear me? But you have heard the presentation already. Okay, if you haven't heard it, then I'm getting nervous. Okay, so basically there are two parts in this presentation. I'm going to lay more emphasis on the first part because I think that is what is relevant. The second part is more nitty-gritties about how a particular service or product has been constructed. And before I get on to the second part, the first part actually deals with a lot of what is my understanding of how advisors function. And there's a standard disclaimer. Which is that you are the ones who deal with your clients. You are the ones who practice the advisory business. A lot of us, to some extent, could be sounding slightly theoretical. And the other disclaimer is that it's very easy for us to come here and speak. And at the same time, we know that it's equally difficult for you to implement a lot of things. But of course, we have the benefit of speaking to a lot of you over the number of years. And we try to gain our own understanding of how we can help you and how we can work better with you. So I'm going to start with a few hypotheses of what my understanding of your thought process or your business is. So can we move to the... So these are some assumptions or some hypotheses of what I think you as an advisor would like to do. These hypotheses are linked to two things. One, it is linked to how you conduct your business, and it is also linked to how the landscape or the framework is changing in which all of us operate. So and some of these things, why I said that it was good that Mark spoke before me, because he has a lot more experience. I was trying to hide in the corner when he said, when were you born and all those kinds of things, and I was pretty much close to that date, so I thought I should not talk too much. But a lot of it is related to what he said. And I'll just read out quickly some of these hypotheses, right? And you may agree or disagree with some of them. You can shoot questions in the second part. So the first assumption or first hypothesis is that you like your engagement with clients to be more than just product selling or manager selection. And in any case, Mark said that manager selection and all these things only add 5-6% to the eventual return of the client, correct? The second thing to be kept in mind, that nowadays in our industry, there is this clear demarcation between what is distribution and what is advice. So if you're selling a product and indulging in telling the client that this fund has performed well, that fund has not performed well, then basically you are indulging in manager selection. And a lot of times what happens is, you don't want to end up telling the client what Value Research or Bloomberg is anyway going to say for free, right? So that's the first part. The second part, you like to be seen to be advising your client. I think in the first half of today's panels, Mr. Barve said pretty well that you may call yourself whatever you call yourself. You charge for the advice, you don't charge for the advice. The advice may be explicit or the advice may be embedded in the product, but you must advise, right? So you like to be seen to be advising your client on variety of things. You like to advise your client to clarify return and risk expectations. You like to advise your client so that you can give him a better understanding of what is happening in the world. Stuff like devising model portfolios for their risk profiles, making an allocation for the client, which is to devise the strategic allocation for the client, and then of course at some points in time, you might need to rebalance it and give what we call, so the strategic allocation is the pizza base, and you have to give some tactical toppings at various points in time. The next assumption is that whether you are charging a fee or you are earning commission from the manufacturer, the point is that everybody would like to stand in front of their client with the clarity that you're adding a lot of value and you deserve to earn what you're earning. Because that's where the entire question comes about what is the embedded commission or what is the advisory fee. So most of the time the discussion could be, why is it that you should be earning what you're earning? What value are you adding to me? So you would like to be able to convincingly justify the fees and commissions, and the client should be able to see this value. The next assumption is that you would like to give your clients similar or better returns at lower costs without impacting your potential earnings. You like to have continuous engagement with your clients, each time starting the meeting where you left off last time. Instead of talking to your clients about what's happening in the market, this fund is not doing well and we have money in it. There's another guy who's doing well but we didn't give enough money there. Instead of doing these kind of transactional discussions, you would like your meeting to be more fruitful and more directional or more strategic. You like to be seen to be a solution provider instead of a product seller, but at the same time, you face challenges. See, what happens with products is that you can go to, theoretically speaking, you can give one product to every client. अगर आपने ठान लिया है कि ये प्रोडक्ट मुझे बेच के इसमें 50 करोड़ जमा करना है तो वो आप हर किसी को दिला सकते हो, देयर इज नो इशू विद इट, राइट? बट दैट part of the business is precisely what is in danger, because if you're selling products, then how much you will earn, for how long you will earn, that could be in danger, number one. Number two, if you're selling products, then ultimately how well you're conducting your business itself comes into question, because you need to advise, you can't be just pushing products. So you would like to eventually come with solutions, but there is a problem with creating solutions. See, the problem with creating solutions is that number one, it's not as easy as selling a product. So you need to understand the client very well, you need to have a profiling of the client, and then you can give him one solution. And from there it becomes even more complicated, because different clients have different needs, and if you have 100 clients, you can't have 100 solutions, correct? And if you have 100 solutions, then it's all over the place, it's haphazard. How do you know what solution you created for which guy? So if his asset allocation is different from his allocation, and then there are 100 such clients, so product selling is definitely not the way to go, but creating solutions in itself is not the answer. That is not easy either, because when you make solutions, solutions are very tricky. They are customized per client, but at the same time you need to standardize your solutions. It can't be customizing for every guy, right? And what solutions are we talking about? Ultimately, there is no way to earn a fee for solutions. Selling product is what gives commission. So what solutions are we talking about? It could just be theoretical in nature. And the last part, you want to charge a fee for providing a solution, or you want to earn commission for the product. And try and understand, for the sustainability of business from a long term, it's not about earning a commission from the manufacturer, because earning is a passive statement. मैंने कुछ काम किया तो किसी ने मुझे कुछ दिया. Earning is a different word from charging, because charging denotes that you added some value and you charged for it. Earning denotes that you did something and you received something. So there is this huge difference. So this is the broad set of assumptions which I think you all would like to accomplish when you are conducting your business. The other important part is that a lot of our regulations are changing pretty fast, and they're changing dramatically. It's not some minor changes. So these are few points, right? All of you are very well acquainted with this. I don't need to read all this, but there is, in the last 3 to 4 years, there is a tremendous change. I think the second point out there is very critical. One of the things where you will see a lot of competition coming in is that if you are going to indulge in telling someone that ICICI Dynamic or HDFC Top 200 or DSP BlackRock Top 100 is a great fund, then actually what will happen over a period of time, there is so much of information bombarding that everybody will know that DSP Top 100 is a great fund. I mean, you're not saying anything new. People will know because they would have seen it on news and they would have seen it on TV. And at the same time, when you have gradation of distributors for simple products, what will happen is, literally speaking, I mean, I'm exaggerating it, but literally speaking, there could be a distributor in every household. So if you have a retired banker in a household, he or she could be a distributor. Am I right? This understanding is correct, right? You could have everywhere. So the point is that whether you like it or not, you have to move to advise. And that's where I repeat again what Mr. Barve said in the morning, you have to advise, correct? And investment advisory regulations, any which way, will segregate advice from distribution. So can we work out something which takes care of all the assumptions or ways of working and all the challenges which are presented by the landscape? So this is just a sum up of, I'm laboring the point, but I think this part is important. So this is just a sum up of what I've written. You can't be seen to be selling a product, so you need to give solutions. But at the same time, a solution needs to be customized, and then again it needs to be standardized for different types of clients. So what do you need? You actually need a solution which is a 99% solution. I mean, some solution which covers the wider arena. Now look at it this way. This is one of the key challenges of coming up with a solution. Does your client base really look like this? The guy you meet at 11 in the morning and the guy you meet at 3 in the afternoon, are they significantly different people? So like Jet Airways gives a platinum card and a gold card and a silver card, do you have some kind of idea of what type of client you are meeting at 2 in the afternoon, or you take it as it comes? Because if you have 100, 200 clients, 2 o'clock if you were to meet the client, 1:45 you will be thinking, अच्छा last time क्या बात हुआ था इसके साथ? That must be happening, I'm sure, right? So generally what happens is, if your client base looks like this, then you anyway can't come with a solution. It's not possible to have a solution. You will end up selling products. Okay? But if you have thought through, profiled your clients, segmented them, and see, some of it is theoretical, but some of it is very easily doable. If I give you an example that if you are out of 100 clients, if you find out that 10 or 15 or 20 of them are between age group of 40 to 45, double income, one child in higher secondary school, own house but paying an EMI, and parents are dependent living with the family. Out of 100 clients, can you carve out 4, 5, 6, 7 clients like this? Of course. So if you actually decide that you're going to bunch your clients like this and then profile them and then carve out a solution by type of client, that's when you will be able to. So what will happen is, only then you will be able to give solutions, because then you have a broad solution which fits one type of client. And then you will not see, once you have worked out a broad solution which fits one type of client, then for all such clients, your portfolios and recommendations should look the same. And on a day when gold price falls by 10%, in your eyes, you should be seeing 6 portfolios. You should not be seeing 100 customers. Abhi kisko phone karu?